everyone, welcome to another episode of Building Better Brains. I'm Lorraine Driscoll, and today I want to continue on with talking about auditory processing because it is such a huge part of the puzzle with so many learning and behavioral issues. So I've talked quite a bit about symptoms and so forth. Today I want to talk about what you can do as a management tool. And as you know, I'm not a big fan of long-term management, but I want to talk about this for one reason in particular, because when I was talking to a mom not that long ago, she said to me, I know you're against IEPs, but this is what we put in the IEP. And that came as a shock because I'm totally not against IEPs, but I have not been exactly quiet about my frustrations with IEPs being the end of the solution or the end of the road, and being used as a long-term solution when really the purpose of an IEP is to get rid of one, right? So I want to talk today about what you can do, what you can have implemented in your child's IEP, what you can request to have done at school, as well as what you can do to at home to get your child to behave better and so forth, and to be able to focus and learn and all of that. So basically, yes, we want to move beyond Band-Aid approaches, but we definitely don't want to just, we don't want to just pretend that it's not happening, it's not a problem right now. So until we can actually get under and address the root cause, we're going to just, do what we can in class and at home so that your child is not completely overwhelmed and frustrated and they feel like they're starting to be on the path towards success. So without going on anymore, number one thing that you want to do for a lot of kids who have auditory processing issues, they, have a hard time tuning out background noise. And I've talked about this before, about why that happens, what's going on in the ear and the brain and so forth. So if you didn't watch those videos, check those out. But basically, you want to create a quiet environment for your child because they might have a hard time tuning out the kid who's whispering to his friend in the back, and the sound of the fan and the sound of the vent and everything else. So what can you do or what can you request be done at school? The number one thing you can do, first of all, is obviously, and you do see this a lot on IEPs, is to have your child seated away from distractions. So seated in a quieter spot in the classroom, preferably or most likely closer to where the teacher is going to be for the most part. And the other thing you want to do is, keep in mind classrooms are crazy, right? Classrooms are crazy today. We all know that. I know that. And so one of the other things that you can do is get the noise canceling headphones, and that can help a lot for your child to be able to focus, not get distracted, not get themselves into trouble, and be able to do their work. The other thing is to request that they have a quiet place to go and work if, none of the above is working. And maybe for them, it's not just sound, it's like everything going on around them, and they need to just be in a quiet, calm space. And it might be only for certain classes. So the third thing is visual. So a lot of kids have a hard time with all of these verbal or oral instructions. And so they really benefit from getting visual information in terms of whether it's your body language, whether it's using your hands, which I do a lot, that's my French Canadian coming out, as well as, we talk about visual schedules, and sometimes people can feel like, oh my God, that's like, if I hear that one more time, I'm going to scream. Definitely, that's not the only thing you should be doing, but for a lot of kids, that can help a lot. For me, it helps a lot to see what's next and so forth, right? So imagine how much it can help these kids. Fourth, if you are someone like me who talks quickly, try to slow down. So these kids have a hard time with auditory instructions. So you really want to slow down and speak more slowly so that they can hear you and have time to process. And if you're like me, when I was teaching, I knew that I talked fast, and I would tell the kids, give me a hand signal. And this leads into my next point. Give me a hand signal if I'm talking too fast. Instead of saying, miss, you're talking too fast again. They would just have this hand signal like this, whatever that signal is going to be for your child, you guys figure it out, and get their teacher in the loop as well. You need to speak more slowly for me. So if they don't have to say it, right, it can be kind of a sensitive issue if they have to keep reminding or sometimes remind someone of that. The next thing you want to do is if you are giving your child important instructions, like whether it's, these are the things I want you to do today, or I need you to really understand, this. Don't just dive right into talking about whatever it is you want to talk about. What you really want to do is you want to talk, you want to give them a heads up. You want to say, hey, okay, so-and-so, I really need you to listen and really focus on what I'm saying right now, because it's really important and I need you to hear this information. So that they aren't just doing their usual thing where they're tuning out. They kind of make a point to work a little harder to process that information. So then once you do that heads up, listen up, so to speak, then you want to check for understanding. You don't want to just say, okay, and then walk away. You want to say, okay, so can you tell me what I've just asked of you, or what I've just said, or what I've just explained, and see if they can repeat it back. And them repeating it back not only makes sure that they understand, but helps to reinforce in their memory what has been said or requested. So the other thing you want to do, sometimes I can not be can be bad for this, and I have to make a point, especially with kids who have auditory processing issues, and that is to say less. Sometimes we go on and on and on. Some of us are talkers. There was one mom I worked with, she just talked and talked and talked and talked, and her son was not much of a talker, and he found it very overwhelming. And when mom started working on not just talking, I don't want to say for the sake of talking, but talking as, more than he would be able to, deal with, and started focusing more on what do I have to say? How can I say it so that it's concise and clear and to the point? So with kids with auditory processing, it's like after a while, their brain just checks out. It's just been too much auditory intake, and it's reached its max, and it's not taking anything more in. So that's why it's very important that the words and the time that you do use is very well planned out and thought out. So say less, and then also connected to that is keywords. So if you need to reinforce certain words a few times whenever you're explaining something or saying something, that can also help to reinforce whatever it is you want them to take in or retain. A lot of you already know this if you have a child with auditory processing, especially if there's like developmental delays with learning and so forth. But the other one is you want to give them extra response time. And it's very important that their teachers are aware of that in class. This is why a lot of kids don't like raising their hand or being called on, because they're expected to come up with something just like that. So it's really important that you just, allow them time to process and think about what they're going to say without assuming they don't know the answer, or they're not saying it quickly enough, or I need to help them out. Make it, a natural thing for that pause for processing. And the last thing is, with auditory processing, every parent, teacher, adult needs to know that behavior is the barometer. So if your child's behavior, if they're doing work, or a student is doing work in class and their behavior is getting all of a sudden out of hand, a lot of the time it's because they are feeling frustrated. And so if you notice they were okay and now they're all of a sudden they're off task, or they're being rude or whatever, or you hear about that's taking place in the class, then you know that something's going on at the work, and we need to address the academic side of what they're experiencing in terms of frustration, and maybe even do some corrective therapies with that, so that they can actually improve and not have these behavior issues, which are often side effects or symptoms of a much larger issue. So auditory processing, I'm talking about it a lot because it touches on a lot. I still have more I'm going to be talking about next week. So stay tuned, and I will post in the link below, or the comments below, I will post a link to my free starter kit to help your child get focused and learning better. So if you like this video, please share, and thank you for watching.